Alright, hey everybody. I said I wanted to do a series on this game, at least what there is of it, because I'm pretty sure they're still working on like polishing it and making it. I don't know, but they're busy working on it apparently, the people behind this, and it's honestly one of my favorites. Simply because of the art, the fucking music, the characterization, it's one of the best. Like, it's has art better than most other VNs, even Burrows, because that's way more stylized. This is just straight up beauty. I don't get why it's not more popular. Probably because of the fact it's not a gay visual novel, which to begin with is kind of a pointless and retarded reason to go into a visual novel, in my opinion. But whatever. Early alpha build, yeah, obviously. Here are the people. I'm here, my to obey. Interesting. We have an interesting narrator here. You fight a lot for a boy your age. There you can. Okay. Still too young to understand, but I feel you should know the face of your mother on this day. Oh Jesus. I don't actually remember a lot of this, but yeah. It's been a minute since I played this because there haven't been any updates for it in years. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go over the ledge. Because, like, the face of here, but you might as well just look up the ledge. That's all. No. That's a fucked up thing to say. Statue. A large golden lion, a statue oversees the city view from the garden. Her right leg is arched up with her long right arm resting on it. Her left leg is stretched out with her tail and left arm. Cool, we can literally see it. I don't need to fucking explain it. Look, Naya, it's your son's birthday, 8-year-old. Is she dead? Yeah, she's dead, isn't she? Yeah, here's your mother, my boy. So great and powerful she was never about strippers. Probably to understand it all, but only feels right to tell you your mother was what she was to all the people she inspired in the past. Her loving memory is the only gift she can give you today, my. Yep, she's dead. I remember that. I remember that now. If only fate had been so cruel, I wish it didn't take a war for us to find each other. Oh, interesting. Nearly killed me when we first met, you can believe it. War of ours. And now we're jumping into the past, because of course we are. And see, this is, like, I have hardly ever seen another VN, except for maybe Liar, which is just a shitty... Well, it's not a complete rip-off of Adastro, but it's basically the same thing. It's just bad. I mean, it's good, it's well written and all, but I just don't like it because it reminds me too much of what Adastra could have been. But this actually is an interesting, like, it's a map. You can see all the map and shit, and it's really cool. There's not much world building. I wish there was more, like, world building, besides just the map and, like, the places, the names, and, like... man. For your mother helped bring an end to the war, this world was nothing but a slaughterhouse, fuel for both riches and for power. That's... pretty sure it still is that. It's just, it's peaceful now. And the days before, each neighboring nation was at rope ed. Wow. We have some bad grammar here. Each neighboring nation was at rope ends with one another, favoring their kin over others. It was only through a strict trade route that we were kept in check. Until that bloody day. Uh-oh. Oh, interesting. Very mountains that divide our lands spewed fire from their peaks. All routes we depended on were lost and were up in smoke. The lands around them shuddered like glass and tore apart everything we had built. Panic took hold of everyone's minds, both king and commoner alike. It didn't take long for riots to break out, for leaders to lash out to another team their coming actions right. Oh no, man. I feel like it would be way more impactful. Great, now I'm even starting to criticize this, one of my favorites. Whatever. It's probably just many more, probably just years of playing other ones, but like it would be way more impactful if it was actually, you know, people that caused it to go wrong instead of a natural disaster. But okay. Kingdoms and dynasties banded together once the lines were drawn. Whether forged or enforced, everyone was desperate for an ally during those troubling times. Your mother before the cataclysm shook our world was a legend amongst her people. The Shashkarans, infamous for their barbaric leaps of strength in battle, found comfort and power and might in their chieftains. From what I've gathered, your mother was even considered a goddess to some in her tribe with sheer power alone. I will say this is definitely, if I'm trying to remember things that happened, but I don't really want to give anything away. But I will say this is an interesting point. This is an interesting way to start the story. Also kind of tragic, considering we know how it's going to end now. Even before the Great War, your mother united all of the clans in her homeland into one big tribe, either by negotiating or aggressively negotiating. So, war, basically violence, cool. She never put herself before people, she always fought for them or alongside them with the call they ever made. If only the rest of the world thought like her. If only she surrounded herself with allies that would do the same for her. Don't you even try. Don't you even try to... whatever. Oh boy. See, this is what I mean when I say the art style here is honestly really, really fucking good. It just... man. The war room roared with thunderous applause and laughter. In the center of it all stood 4 deviant figures toasting one another. Oh boy. I don't like how there's no emotion sprites for these people, but I'm sure they're working on that. Oh, is it just my naivete in the field of visual novels that made me think this was a good one? Is that what actually happened? Because that might be it. A tremendous feat for our dear Baron Horkrum. Not only did he preserve our encampment, but also wiped out the entire debonair regime. An elegant weasel queen, who chanced her hands across the work map and knocked out wherever pawn she came across, she goes clean. Ah yes, laughing over people dying, that's totally a normal thing to do. Oh boy. The Southwest is exposed now to be easy pickings for taking the riverfront from the Imperials. Of course it is, Jesus. Everyone in attendance took pride in their latest victory with song and cheer, failing to notice the commotion outside their halls. Weasel Queen herself was too amused with her knocking over pawns to care. As pieces flung off the table, a bony-fingered hand, littered with jeweled rings, caught a piece, cracked it as a lion's head. The elderly rooster, Baron Horkrum, juggled the piece in amusement. Oh my god. Ugh, okay, that's interesting. How the fuck am I gonna find a voice to give this dude? And to think it only cost us a few hundred Shakasha and tribesmen to go out 5,000 Imperials. Horkrum, wait, what? It said a U there. Yeah, there's a U there. Horkrum sipped from his goblet, unaware of the silence that filled the room. The silence broke as Regal dropped his goblet in shock. Oh boy. What? Wrestling outside became more noticeable. An iguana bathed in religious garbs stuttered out in the revolution. Oh Jesus. Okay, that's actually really cool. That's a really cool design for this character. Okay. Okay, it's surprising. I don't remember most of this. You made no mention you use Sakarans as bait in your report. Queen draped her head over the map with terror in her eye. What, the southern Sashkaran troops led by Juko? Dread filled the room as everyone stared at one another. shut. Oh boy. The cold, dead silence of the room instantly broke from the sound of the door opening. A rustic groan ripples into the room, creeping into everyone's ears. Their attentions were glued now at the source of it all. The massive iron doors that sealed the room began to hinge open. You guys are in trouble now. And there's our main character. Only took like 10 minutes or so. Out of the shadowy doorframe loomed a towering creature that filled everyone with dread. It was Naya, a beastly lioness that towered over all of them in size and pure muscle. Two rhino sentinels guarding the interior of the room hesitantly raised their spearheads at the lioness. Naya showed no concern or even acknowledgement towards them. Her gaze held stoic and firm while scanning the room. Grand Chieftain Nah, you surprised me. What brings you here all the way from your clan? Last I checked, you were stationed all the way out in the Eastern Regiment. Stormette passed him, paying no mind to the king while she stood before the war table. Oh jeez, this is the voice I'm gonna have to do the most, I'm guessing. I don't even know what, oh boy. Miss out on all this? She snatched a goblet of wine out from under the reptilian bishop and chugged it all down. A heavy sigh passed her lips while her eyes darted across the war map. Got the fancy wine out, I see. Straight from your private stash, priest. I don't fucking know what... Okay, great. That's fucking great. The glorified lizard hissed and drew his breath towards the lioness, noting all the times he complained the difference between a priest and a bishop. You okay? He collected himself once more and addressed her. There's a lot of tense issues here, Jesus Christ. Yes, we toast with the sacred wine taken from the crypt of his lordship. Zextrox, may this victory appease. What the fuck? Oh, it's a belch. Okay. Yeah, not a good year, I think. Kroon captured himself as the desire to scold the lioness tempted him, but he knew better than to test his words to her might. His eyes twitched in superseded anger. Okay, there's a lot of issues in this writing, I'm noticing now. Naya poured herself into a cupful of wine and wedged herself. Another tense sweat. Jesus Christ, work on your... I get they're working on it, but Jesus. Wedged herself between the Baron and the Bishop. But let's not have the festering wine spoil our celebration. What the fuck was that? Excuse me? She peered down to the rooster. Right, Horcrum. An unsettling smile plastered itself across her maw. Oh, someone's dying today. She draped her arms across Horcrum and Kroon's necks and pulled them uncomfortably close. Unaware or uncaring, she splat some wine on Kroon's outfit. Kroon gawked furiously at it, but Naya couldn't care less. She held the goblet up in shears. We're celebrating a great victory, are we not? Yes, of course. Of course, my dear. We just eradicated a huge sum of the Empire's southern forces. Quite the time to toast, if ever you ask me. Thick, unbearable tension encased the room, as everyone looked at Naya to see how she would respond. For a brief moment, this is actually really an interesting case of like political power not being able to top physical. It's usually the other way around in stories like this. For a brief moment, her gaze was a few miles out and far from the occupants of the room. Only after closing her eyes and drinking whatever remained in her cup to toast did the tension violently settle. Everyone began to sip at their goblets, but Naya didn't stop at a sip. In that brief moment and time, the bishop detected a tart smell from under him. From where Naya draped her armor over him, he spotted something dark and sickly dripping off her talons. It was blood. Oh shit. Kroon's eyes widened after realizing how fresh the blood was. His eyes shot across the room and back at the hallway she entered from. He saw something he hadn't seen before. There were markings of blood printed across the iron door. His bewildered eyes focused more heavily at the doorway and began to see figures sprawled across the hallway. Several men in full armor lay motionless with massive dents embedded into their armor. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's actually freaky. I hate that. Her eyes gripped with bloodshot... His eyes, gripped with bloodshot terror, gazed up at the giant lioness. Naya choked down her remaining wine and tossed the cup across the table. Perfect time as ever. You did kill my son to do so, after all. Oh yeah, you guys are dead. Silence fell over everyone as she spoke. Tails and fur stood on end at the side of the haunting death glare she held over Horkrum. It was only when a sly, toothy grin spread across her face that everyone truly feared death that night. Okay. I think I may have done this by choosing the option I chose, because I don't remember this, and I've played this before, and this is not what I remember happening here. In a blinding blur of rage and sheer might, Naya gripped both the Baron and the Bishop by the back of their heads and brought their skulls together with a harsh crunch. Oh my god, how strong are you? Each of them squirmed in pain from the dizzying headbutt. Naya discarded Kroon and set her attention solely on Horkrum. With one mighty thrust of her arm, she slammed the elderly Brewster's head straight down on the oak table. Okay then. A terrified squawk. Again, poor grammar, work on this. A terrified squawk erupted from the Baron as soon as his face was slammed at the table. What little life he had left in him struggled to survive whilst his frail body found itself pinned under the strength of Naya's claws. You know what this reminds me of? I remember watching the show too, and thinking about this being when it happened. Beesbury's death in House of the Dragon. Yeah, I remember watching that scene and being like, wait a second, Roy. It's like weird because I think I remember this, but I also think I don't remember this because I watched someone play it and I think they got this one. I don't remember, but I remember thinking about this in that scene. So I must have watched it, because this wasn't what I got. I don't remember. God. My brain's fucking stupid. Naya's eyes burned with molten fury at the Baron and a bloodthirsty scowl curling at her maw. You dare laugh and cheer after the murders you've committed? Oh, Jesus, that's not the voice she would have in this. I don't know. Her deadly grip over the Baron's head sunk deeper into his skull. All that could be heard from him were wallowing cries of pain. Everyone at the table scurries away from the table. Redundant, much redundant. Well, Naya wreaked havoc on the fat. That's not the right word. Jesus. Foul. No, have you gone insane? Release him at once or else! Oh boy, that's not what he said. Whatever. Naya snapped her beneath the Leopard King's voice, having made his way to the far corner of the room with both Rhino guards barricading him. Hold your goddamn tongue, else I tear it from that pathetic jaw of yours. This is between me and Horkrum. But if you insist, I'll get to you next. You and everyone else who played a damn part in this. He yanked the crippled rooster by his gizzard and batted him against the war map like a bleeding doll, knocking every figurine against his face. Because of you? No, I don't... Okay, that's interesting. That's not, Because of you, hundreds of my friend, my family were sent to their graves. You idly sat back in your coveted thrones and threw them to their doom. Picked up a few war pieces that were scattered about and threw them at everybody with an exploding force behind them. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Yeah, I think I made the right choice, because this is how this is honestly, if in this situation, I'd be doing worse. Were the Rangers, the Scout Regiment? Why weren't there any reinforcements drawn to our son's location? We trust you have our back, not bury us with rocks. Naya, listen to us. Shut your fucking whore mouth. Enough of your hallowed speeches. It's all the goddamn same with you lot, conniving with another, blood in the dark, backstabbing those you've sworn allegiance with, always tripping others to take the fall. She snarled with a high-eyed scowl in her eyes, leaping onto the table. Okay, it's she with a G for some reason. She knees her massive leg into Orcum's chest, only a gasping squeak escaping his beak. Okay, that shouldn't rhyme, but it does. She grabs hold of his windpipe, making sure it'll be his last. Okay, committing murder right in front of the king. You're not getting away with this time. This time, you all will see what happens if you cross the wrong mother. Isn't that right, Horcrum? Oh boy, I can't do this voice. Oh boy. Her fist shook with rage and anxiety while she raised over her head, ready to strike true into the meek Baron's skull. Oh, we have a bear. Interesting. That's enough. Bear Claw snarled around Naya's shoulder and not forced all its strength to pull her around. General Crom, a stockly grizzly bear. Oh boy, those things are fucking scary. She clad in silver armor plating, snarled the lioness. However, a grim reminder sank into his face as Naya snapped around and glared him down at eye level, remembering just how tall and strong she was as she towered to her full height. She had a full foot over him. Over a grizzly bear, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ, this person. Wailing intensely. But, Naya, listen, I know you're angry. Naya snarled, putting emphasis on his words, by curling her tight grasp around Horcum's neck, causing him to squeak in pain. But this alliance needs him. You need him. He's been the one that's been keeping your trade sponsored and your clan fed. He's been giving you the resources your people have been desperately needing since this war began. Hundreds of hungry mouths are the cost of snapping the Baron's neck. Would you doom your clan to starvation, your rage? Naya slowly settled her snarling as the bear talked sense into her grip loosened. Choku died with honor like his father. He sacrificed. Shut the fuck up, you cocksucker. That is I hate that law. Fuck honor. Honor is a fucking fool's errand. Naya swiftly backhanded Crum's muzzle, causing him to stagger. Yeah, good. She let go of Horcrum, leaning down at eye level with the general. Don't you dare speak to me of honor. Choku's father and his men were the first casualties since this damn war began. Naya grabs Karam by the string of his armored collar. Or did you forget it was that protected your ass when you were trained with your king? Who it was, okay. The bear grips hold of the lioness's wrist to pry it off him. No, I didn't. That's why I made precautions around their territory. Since then, distant battle cry echoed down the corridor. The raging sounds of ungodly roars began to draw closer. Naya's lips curled in a tasteful snarl as at the sound of that haunting chorus looming in. Spite and dread sunk deep into her eyes at the monstrous roars. You wish to keep your territory safe, your people fed, you must watch your tongue. Threatening someone who is stronger than you. That's a great idea, you fucking moron. Both Lioness and Bear growled intensely toward one another. Naya swatted his grip from her wrist. Karam glared up. You think war's gonna be the one with honor and brute strength alone? You're living in a fool's dream. She literally said she doesn't care about honor, you fucking moron. Oh, lost something, you're not just you. General leans in to match her heavy gaze. An opportunity presents itself. Good soldiers will be ready to accept the risk this war brings. General's words are choked out of him as Naya single-handedly hoists him in the air with the strap of his collar. Good. Fucking good. She brought him to her eye level now, not his. Okay, Growl, I can't fucking do that. Burying them alive is part of the deal. Did they know? Were they truly given warning to this risk? His glaring eyes broke away from Naya, unable to talk himself out of the situation at hand. Naya Naya takes in crumbs. Silence is his better answer, and swallows the harsh reality she was given. She tossed the general against the wall like a rat. Yeah, okay. I think this main character is a little too strong. I think this is a little too Mary Sue, yeah, gotta be honest. That's not the right word, whatever. Overpowered, more like. Krim braced himself against the stone as he gained his footing. Naya turned, staring past the bloodstained cast iron doors and into the darkness beyond. You fucking High Lords treat your men differently, but you're my clan. Here's my family, not some pawns to be discarded. Naya began to march out, holding herself with a mighty stride to her step. She always boasted pride in herself towards her colleagues and never dared to show the strain she shouldered, especially the emotional weight she bared. They were mere vultures in her eyes, just waiting for the opportune moment. She snarls and barks out like a rabid dog, fuming after her. Naya, where do you think you're going? We're not finished here. To the vanguard with my men, like you whelps, I don't intend to sit on my ass as this war goes on. The hungry growl erupted from Naya as she made her way toward the blood-stained door. She stopped abruptly when she felt something crunch under her foot. Figurine from the warts. Oh my god, what the fuck is it this time? This is an email. Jesus Christ, phone. Stop. Create a plain lifty. Shut the fuck up, YouTube. No, I'm not gonna do that. It's a figurine of a tribal lion. Her son's pun piece, no less. So proud, that figurehead. Looked so youthful. Okay, that sense is weird. Her shoulders sank with her heart, that shattered shards falling between trembling fingers. This would how she remembered him. This would be how she remembered him, the broken figurehead. General Crom rushed over to assist the fallen Baron. Horkrim's bony fingers latched tightly to Crom's armor. General, I have been assaulted. I don't care how much it costs. I want that filthy whore, but... Oh boy, he's dead. He's getting hurt. The flailing rooster screeched and fell silent. He desperately clawed at his own neck. Oh, it was okay, that's what it was. It was Rooster screeching. Okay, plucking feathers from his own skin, trying to squeeze whatever was in his throat out. Completely flabbergasted, the grizzly general hastily wrapped his stocky arms around the thrashing rooster and gave him the Heimlich maneuver. Okay, in the medieval world, where that's apparently a thing. That's a thing. Okay, sure, I buy that totally. Each husky squeeze the general gave became more aggressive, tied around the frail Baron. Each squeeze let out a gaspy wheeze from Horkrim until finally, oh no. Outshot the rooster figurehead Naya had spied on the floor. In the height of the Baron's rage, Naya saw through her tears the rooster in a blinding speed. It went straight down their conspirator. What? By the time Horkrim hacked the piece up, Naya already left the war room. Something... Okay, the writing here is confusing enough to the point where it's actually... actively making the story hard to understand. That's a very bad thing. Naya thrashed her way through the onlooking guards, making her way from the central building. Her brooding composure left a sense of fear in her wake, each soldier scrambling from her death-bringing gaze. Several guards Naya encountered on her way in, now decorated with sizable dents in their armor prior to her outburst. Understandably, they fled for their lives. Naya reached the main gate to the fortress. She glared up at the fence tower that operated the main gate. After a brief moment, the impatient lioness roared at the top of her lungs. Open! Oh boy. The men in the towers jolted in fear before operating the gate wheel. Massive iron gate rocked open, greeting Naya to the setting red sun and the familiar faces of her clan parked outside. gathering of barbaric animals, tigers, gorillas, viper. There is viper? Okay, I want to see that. Vultures, etc. greeted Naya with eyes eager for their next order. Zuta, a battle-worn elderly wolf, stood next to Naya's primitive horse. He looked at her with great concern, as did everyone else, though he all alone saw a distressing look on Naya's face. A look of defeat. Oh, okay, he's, Naya, how did it go up there? Shall I prep our men for... Naya leaped on her horse, saddled with ease, roaring to her clansmen. We're heading out now! No one questioned Naya's order, swiftly trailing behind her as her horse galloped ahead. Naya and her tribe ventured out towards the wasteland, rushing away from the fortress. Oh boy. Naya rode her warband aimlessly out into the decrepit wasteland. She and most of her clan were expecting a bloodbath. All things considered, the evening called forth her full fury. But Naya couldn't think, let alone act with the brewing storm clouding her thoughts. She didn't know what to expect that morning after hearing about her son's death. She could only remember the grotesque anger that fueled her march to the fortress. It left no time to mourn, no room to grieve for the fallen. Oh shit, I'm remembering things. I am remembering things. I really, really, really don't like the things I'm remembering right now. God damn it. Fucking god damn it. Oh. After all that they've won from the day was a bleeding sun setting onto a lifeless land of canyons and rubble. The rubble. The lioness's eyes flared with renewed savagery. She leaped off her horse mid-gallop and pounced forth to the landfill. Her clan looked on with confusion, whilst a primal fear guided her way. You know, if you're going to be writing a fucking story, stick to a tense and just stick to it. Pick one and stick to it, for fuck's sake. Don't swap. Oh my god, I cannot stand people that just... God, I hate it. Fucking god. It's genuinely so annoying. It is so fucking annoying, and I hate every single second of it. Like, honestly, I think we're in for some, if I remember correctly, we're in for some fucking insanely emotional moments here, because, yeah. Um, the sudden composition, to run felt what? That doesn't make any, that doesn't make sense. The sudden urge to run felt right to her. It was the only feeling worth being compulsion. It's supposed to be compulsion, you put composition. Oh my god. The sudden compulsion to run felt right for her. It was the only feeling worth being compelled by, as more continued to flood in. Her heart was sinking to a new plane of anguish. Fear, heartache, loathing, these were all gifted to her by those she called her allies. All of these base emotions gushed violently out at the mere glance of the canyon rubble. Her mind was like that of a boiling pot overflowing with heated thoughts and thriving... What the fuck? Thriving, that's not a word. With heated thoughts and remorse, where people mindlessly slaughtered, their haunting cries lost to the wind, the fleeting thoughts of her baby boy, every gruesome thought of the event swelled within her mind. All she could do was scream. I'm not even going to try and channel that emotion. Her body began to tremble anxiously. There was no room for fear, though, only action. She knew better than to let her aggression consume her, but merely channel it. Right now, more than ever, she needed to let it all out. out right away. Well, a boulder is going to fucking hurt. So I mean, a tree's gonna hurt too. But considering how strong she is, I think a tree's better. A withered tree stood idly out in the wasteland, signs of heavy rot shone within the dried hollow bark on the wood. She stormed over the dried up husk. It towered ominously overhead, nearly twice her height. Fists balled, Naya plunged her deadly talons into the tree, bursting her arms straight through. Okay, she could kill someone. Jesus. Gripping her claws into the bark, she lifted the tree out of the ground. Yeah, she could kill someone with a single punch. Fucking Christ. Slamming it to the ground, she freed her arm and tore the tree in half, tossing it to the sand. I'm sorry, this is like some guts level strength. This is like some guts level feat of like strength and anger. And I'm here for it, because if we're going down a berserk path, there's gonna be some shit. What? What indeed. She frantically tears into the bark, ripping it to bits. She became too lost in her savagery to pay her approaching clan any mind. Naya let out a primal roar full of anguish and despair, leaving the very air itself trembling. She began to pace in circles as though trapped in her own mind like a caged beast. Her attention snapping aimlessly about as if actively seeking an enemy to go to war at. Her deranged eyes darted from the desert to the canyons to the sky and even to her own clan. She snapped back towards her horse and unlashed her spear. Concern hung on the brow of every member of the tribe as they watched their chieftain lose herself to madness. However, concern was elevated into panic as Naya aimed the spear directly at her own people. Yeah, anger can do that. I should know. I've been that angry before. Oh my god, it's not fun. Without warning, she hurled the spear. Everyone in front ducked for cover, but the spear passed harmlessly over them. Every spectating eye was glued to the spear now, seeing where it headed. A moment passed before the spear fell back to the ground, bringing a body-shaped mass with it. Oh shit. Somebody had been spying on them. Naya cared not what colors they wore. She cared not for prying eyes above her warband. Zata. Take your men and handle that damn spy. Do whatever you like with it. Pluck its feathers, gut it, stick its head in a pike. I want it to be a message to whomever else thought it wise to have eyes on us. Zata nodded and waved his men down to hand out their orders. Naya's fists began to tremble. The rage within began to engulf her body and soul. Her outlandish attack may have proved therapeutic for that instance, but a swell of issues came ready to burst forth out of her. Oh boy, more angry yelling. They call us savages, they call us primitives, far to feed the flames of their petty war. Naya fed into her anger, peering down at the faces of those who followed her. She lashed out into the air, working herself into a guttural tirade. What are we worth to these fucking highborns? We risk life and limb fighting for their map and they treat us like fools. I'm not angry right now. I can't summon that right emotion. I cannot summon the correct emotion, the correct fucking energy for this. The sheer power from their roars. Her roars spooked her horse away, even frightening a few horses within the front line. She anxiously began pacing around in circles. The vile toxicity of her fury bled into her words. Worse than fools to them, we're fucking nothing! Nothing. The hardship we've endured in life, we're still seen as nothing to them. They still take everything we've earned, yet have given no empathy to their soldiers or for us. Naya halts in her stead and breathes heavily. Her head began to spin. See, this is what I mean when you have fucking 10 swaps every 5 seconds. It confuses you. Her head began to spin as her unchecked emotions swept through her mind. I don't know if I can do that correctly. I don't want it to come across fucking fake, so I'm just gonna skip that one. It finally dawns onto her the emotional severity of people's losses. temptation to break down and cry right then and there was all too inviting. The feeling was fleeting, though, with her volcanic rage dominating her resolve. She prowled through her group, pulling each other in turn. Anger and remorse burned in her eyes. They took your mascot. I don't know, mascot. They snuffed out the joyous laughter of variety from us. Lear can never dream of home again. They used our children, our very future, as the stepping stones of our meager life. They laughed! Oh my god, here we go. This is not good. Yeah, I'm just sitting here like, this is gonna go very badly for you. This is gonna go terribly for you. Oh boy. Never more insult my life with the service I provide as a warrior. We Skarashkins are known for far more than faceless grunts until today. Oops, stand out shocked silence, feeling the weight of the words sink into their belts. Naya choked up, tears beating down her muzzle and falling to the dirt beneath her feet. Her face was set ablaze with fury and despair. Oh boy, I honestly just, oh boy. Oh boy. 5 years. For 5 fucking years we fought their campaigns. Bloodied our blades, our claws, our fur, but we were still seen as just dogs of war to those highborn. Naya glared through the glassy, reddened eyes to the distance of the direction of the fortress. Lost over the hills now, but burned in her memory. They sit on their precious ivory, claiming glory, and build their own foundations for our folly so they can preserve their meaningless titles. Doing all that so they can ensure their bastard legacies. Naya turned to her tribe, snarling and spitting at the thought of the highborn. They wish to craft the war in their image, build halls of false heroes, and march in parade to show off their glorious military might. I don't want a war built in their image. It's plenty ugly enough already, if you ask me. I'd soon desecrate every golden statue they erect before acknowledge their deeds. Everyone scoffed in disgust at the notion. Oh my god. We're supposed to accept this, crawl on our hands and knees at the sight of their fancy clothes and titles because of their special blood. I took a stone from the ground and tossed it in the fortress's direction, watching it disappear into the night sky. I'll be damned if history gives them that pleasure. If anything is going to be remembered from this war, will be the men, women, and children that trudge through a sea of corpses that reach for a better tomorrow. Those lords of the court, those pieces of shit deserve to sink into oblivion, not us! Oh boy, this is not good. This is not good. This is gonna kill more people. This is gonna kill so many more of your people. Warriors who stood with her roared up a storm with her infectious monologue. This war is nearly at its end. I can taste in the air like a wounded beast. It's up to us to get back this prize. No kings, queens, or barons will claim it. This everlasting boring nightmare will spear through the fog and warn of the sun finally shine upon the glory of our clan's barbarous might. Oh boy, you guys are in trouble. You guys are gonna get killed. Their collective force threatened to bring down the sky. Naya perched herself on the rocky hillside. I'll hang by my neck before I allow this to be forgotten by the end of this war. Oh my god, holy shit. I'm just thinking of what this is going to inspire in these people and the absolute horrendous nature of what might happen from this, and it's scary. Like, it's a good idea. It's like, it's fucking reasonable reaction to this, but at the same time, this is gonna lead to more death. Oh boy. Grotesque snarl curls at her maw before she spits in the direction of the fortress. Cool, we get it. You said this before already. Oh boy. We've already fucking read this is basically the exact same idea you've just said like multiple times now. Oh boy. Oh, Solarful, oh no. Orbam began to chant and bash their weapons in uproar. They marveled at her as she pointed at the setting sun, eaten away by the night. Folk think we can sneak within our lands undetected. They clearly never run it by... They Clearly, I've never been hunted by Sakaran. I don't know how to say that in this sense. I'll be the first to me to finally grow math before anyone else does. To take us and myself into the squabbling kingdoms, just who we are. The ones who truly ran this war, who truly fueled their victories. Oh boy, I don't think that's how it's gonna work out, but okay. We'll make history remember who were the true victors, for it was the Sakara through and through. Hmm. That's a bit, that's a bit small-minded, don't you think? There's other, like, war bands that are probably in the service of other people that are also having their deeds silenced and shut up by these people, but okay, sure, go off, I guess. The group shared in a massive roar for their chieftain, eagerly chanting her name. Of course they are. What the fuck is that goddamn sound? Oh my god, someone's fucking mowing the lawn. Why is that a thing that people do constantly? I swear, the fucking next door neighbor does it every fucking week. Like, 2 times a week, I would say. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, we pawns. We're in troop shield now. Oh my god, we get it. Yeah. Phase war, show just have a most of the enemy warriors burst out in savage wars with the heat of their leader's words, only to be snuffed out as Naya shouted at them again. Be a long march when we leave at first light. Take your rest now. Tomorrow we strive for our birthrights. Naya watches her tribe dismount their horses and set to ready in the camp. She spotted a vulture scout approaching her. Okay, interesting. That's an interesting design for a vulture, but okay. The two intercept one another, pressing close enough to conspire their thoughts. Shall I go and intercept our flyboys? Shouldn't take me long to reach the crash site. No, I have Zata taking care of that, and I need you elsewhere, Sindra. My Linus clasped her massive paw around the vulture's shoulder, pointing closer. Sindra could feel Naya's sizzling fury still ripping off of her. How far have your scouts tracked him? They've been slowly building their focus through the canal there. Every night since we spotted them, it's only a matter of time till they're on the move. Where they're at. Now, it will be roughly a 3-week march out to them. Naya, maybe 2 if the horses keep pace. Good. Naya made a move to leap before the vulture spread her wings to block their path. But the scouts tell me this regiment is growing more terrifying by the day. They've spotted siege weapons. Treason alone spoiled why they're advancing so slowly. You sure it's wise to leave the rest of the Alliance in the dark on this? Says eventually they won the war. Naya gave Sindra a long, thoughtful look. Besides, it doesn't matter one way or the other. From what I plan, I'll be at the Emperor's throat before the army knows what hit him. And if they catch wind of us, what then? Word on the winds is that you're high on their hit list ever since you crashed one of their imperial banquets. For all we know, that fancy gear they're porting over could be trained on Shakarza. Oh my god, we're the only true threat to the Empire. If something happened to us, they might... Sindra choked on her words as Naya draped a comforting paw on her shoulder. Reassuring gaze she saw in her chieftain's eyes calmed the warrior within. Nothing's going to happen to our people. We've endured the far worse than some Imperial's marching band. What are we? A tense sigh events out of the vulture's nostrils, followed by a light chuckle. She creaked out a beaky smile and nodded in acknowledgement. Naya smiles along, patting her shoulder. She slowly looms down and leered. Fucked down firmly, the bird's eyes rested a clawed figure to her chest lightly. Just be sure it's us and only us who know the Emperor's whereabouts. Vulture nodded and flew off to meet the other scouts, leaving Naya alone to oversee the encampment. Within the bursting emotions of his tribe setting up the camp, Zutta rendezvoused with a miscreant, a trio of feline scouters, a lion, a tiger, and a cougar. Cougar eagerly addresses Zutta with piqued interest. Very interesting. Okay. Otis boss. Take Edron and Cyrix and go check out our little avian speck. Ooh, cute. Adjourn us. I'll get up in a bit. I need to check on a thing or two here. Don't carve too much into the bird. I want to identify them first. No promises, boss. Oof rolled his eyes at the cheekiness from the cougar. A tired sigh whisked from him before placing a paw on Thackeray's face and pushed him towards his horse. The trio of stickers, one and another after they mount their steeds and gallop away toward the crash. Zeta turns his attention back to the encampment. Everyone settled down once they started to feast on their replenished rations. He sniffs around to try and scout out Naya from the crowd. She wasn't in the camp, he realized. Scanned the area and spotted the massive lioness lounging on a far-off decrepit tree branch, her attention solely anchored to the wasteland. An odd scraping noise crept to his ears as he trotted up to the tree, glanced up and reeled at the sight of scratch marks littering the tree's bark. He hollers up to Naya. Not joining us for dinner? Naya shakes her head dismally. Oh my god, not hungry. Scratching noise resumed once more. Naya scraped her claws mindlessly into the bark, sprinkling the ground with wood shavings. I'm gonna stay in guard for the night anyway. Will furrows his brow from hearing this. You haven't slept since the ride down through here. Sure that's a good idea? Sure, I'm sure. Spite oozes out of her as she snaps her attention fully on Zeta, her claws sunk deep into the wood now. Zeta held a steely gaze back up at her, only flickering with concern for his chieftain. Naya pauses briefly. Her eyes twitched with unkempt irritation as she tried to rein her emotions. Shallow sigh pressed past her lips as she slumped back against the tree and stared back into the wasteland. I can't sleep worth a damn anyway. He massages her eyes meagerly with the tip of her digits, but holds them in place as she starts to growl. Every time I close them, Zeta, I see him. I see my boy. I see him and everyone else frightened out of their minds, all because of that goddamn rock slot. Eyes ripped all open, bloodshot and red. Her sorrows were swiftly dashed away with demented anger. Makes you think, Dustin, just how long do you think they had that trap set, huh? Only thing missing was the bait. Anxiety sharpened herself had reached its brink. In a fidget of rage, her legs stomped onto the tree limb she was perched on. Wild force beneath it caused the branch to snap beneath her. Naya hits the ground on all fours. Her face was ablaze with blistering to fury. She grabs hold of the lengthy branch and chucks it far into the desert. Her body shook with the unyielding and gravel spewing from her maw. She was shaking all over, Zeta realized. Ever since she was a youngling, Zeta helped her kindle the rage and fear within her. To never let it fully consume her, it was a rare occasion to see her shaken up like this. At the loss of her own kin, she had all the right to be. He'd spat a heavy sigh and ventured close to the fuming lioness. His steely eyes held contently on her storming gaze. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Naya scoffs at the question. She shakes her head dismissively. What other choices there, Zeta? Join the Empire, perhaps. Place our fate in more eyeborns. We'll never know as they will hate us all the same. There's no rhyme or reason towards anyone outside of our own now. As soon as it's done, the better. Zeta nods sagely to her viewpoint, but wouldn't wave off the concept altogether. He'd often fancied the thought on numerous occasions, in fact. Seasoned hunter recalls vivid points in his life where he worked hand-in-hand with Imperials on contracted hunts. They were tolerable to work with back then. Perhaps the same case could be said to this day. Naya, however, hisses at every notion. We can't rely on our allies to do shit. Even a group of idiots can pose a threat, especially if they came at us from every side. We're stretched out bad enough as it is. We can't just... Winded sigh aced forth from her maw. Her mind was clouded in thoughts alone, none of which provided a clear answer for her. Defeated growl aches out of Naya. Shaking her head, she runs her claws through her hair. No, this is the only option we have, Zeta. We have to strike while we still can. What if the plan doesn't work? What if the Emperor isn't there? We'll slaughter every Imperial we find along the way. Regal may have stretched our clan's name from our homeland, but we'll make sure to demonstrate how futile it is to go against a Scaran legion. Everything was dead set in the vast, empty wasteland. Dead set on not meeting Zeta's eyes once more. She didn't need him. She didn't need to look him in the eyes, however, to feel his chilling gaze on her back. That sense is fucked. Taking a deep breath and a moment to collect herself, she cages the corrosive thoughts that drove her to the brink. She closes her eyes and tilts her head skyward. But I'm only 2 more options, Zeta. Puffed, a tired growl puffs from his lips. Tell this old wolf can bring anything new to the table you haven't already thought of. For him, this was fact. Ever since he took her into his care when she was a youngling, he taught her everything she needed to know when risking the odds. They were not favorable, to say the least. Within the fog of war, fear dominates the hearts and minds of everyone. Lord above all in the battlefield, but to a Shikaran, it is their greatest teacher in life. To brave through it and not be consumed by fear meant facing the obstacles before you and bracing for the unknown beyond them. Most would break under such a presence, but Shikaran is raised to accept it. Zeta knew Naya well enough to know that she didn't frighten easily. She took joy in making others feel others fear her more, if anything. However, he couldn't help but smell the festering stench of doubt on her. Behind her stoic gaze held a lifetime of turmoil. How she aimed to funnel it all was up to her, he knew this much. Hopefully our new bird friend will give us some insight on the matter. Who knows? Naya hugs herself, her black claws tangled themselves into her thick tan fur. Do as you will for now. We'll head westward at dawn. Please do keep up. Promise it won't take too long. Try not to stay up all night, okay? Naya didn't respond. Zeta turned head back to camp. He stopped halfway and took in the quiet scenery. After all the events that took place, Naya's stance for tonight became clear to him. Maybe it wasn't wise to set up camp near a rock quarry. Jesus, man, this is like... Silence swept over the encampment with only a light scatter of chatter and the crackling of bonfires breaking through the cool air. Oh look, we have a bonfire of dreams moment. Very cool. Naya rested on a nearby tree branch, watching over the camp. She'd often peer up and admire the crescent moon that hung overhead. Naya closed her eyes, losing herself in deep thought. Her fists clenched and unclenched as she replayed everything she'd done that day. She was ready to burst. She wanted to cry, but finally let it go and pour the swelling pain that strangled her heart. It wasn't an option. It could never be an option. You must always live in the present, her mother had taught her. To live in the past means putting your back to the future. It's best to grow for tomorrow than be hunted with what could have happened. As the leader of the entirety of Shiskara, she needed to hold strong. But still... Mommy? Oh boy, Jesus Christ, great. That's a complication. Naya's ears perked up. Her eyes darted out to the voice. Under the tree, a 7-year-old lioness peered up at her mother with concern. Begina, what are you doing up? Naya Gmestone used her tail as a rope from Begina to climb. She embraced her tightly in her lap. I couldn't sleep. I had a bad dream. Of your brother? Begina nodded, peering into her mother's eyes. Why do you have to die like this? I thought you were safe under the low-cut banner. Naya rubbed the back of her daughter's head in soothing comfort. This war brings out the worst in others, Makina. Human cowards will desperately do anything to survive, even if it means... Naya paused, the sorrow she suppressed filling her eyes with a glossy haze. She choked on her words. Balling her fists up, her nostrils flare from her seeping rage as she banished the tears from her eyes. Slightly subsides as Megina chimes in. It's not fair. Naya uttered a soft sigh. I know, sweetie, I know. Naya lightly licks her cub's forehead before hugging her. Mama's getting this war once and for all. Megina pushed away with tear in her eyes. I'm afraid of Mom. What if you can't? What if you're gone too? Megina looked away, too ashamed to show her doubt to her mother. So the Emperor is part dragon, but he breathes fire and tears his foes in two. Naya rubbed Megina's cheek to soothe the worries away, giving her a comforting smile as her daughter held into her paw with such youthful strength. I don't want to lose you too. Solemn frown curves from Naya's mother before it snaps into a sly smile. What? You don't think I can beat some pansy highborn? Megina perked her gaze up to her mother, unsure how to react. This was her mother, after all, but the eerie sense of dread already bled her of hope. It was difficult to understand the odds at this point, she knew. Huh? If he's anything like the shit-stains we follow, it'll be a cakewalk, Megina. Megina bit her lip in concern, but Naya held her daughter tenderly by the shoulders and gazed softly at her. Did you forget who your mother is? I would end worlds before bowing to some pesky highborn. Naya cackled slightly to use attention for her daughter and jokingly gestured around. Hell, if he isn't like a royal pains, the only action he's ever had in his life would be grooming his own balls. Megina cracks a smile after wiping a tear away and giggles. That's pathetic if he's part dragon. Naya lightly draped a burly arm around Megina's neck and pulled her back into her lap. She smiled warmly down to Megina before extending out her back claws in front of her, in a mix of admiration, comparing her smaller claws to her mother's. Well, it'd be good to know that he polished them at least, because once I take his head, I'm gonna take them as well. Do some play with me we travel back home. Megina lightly elbowed her mother with a gleeful laugh. Mommy! Naya laughed along with Megina, hugging her lightly while snipping at her daughter's ear in response. Let's pin him into his head instead we'll do it on a pike. Megina snickered on with her mother as she rested up against her. She put some bells in it, make them genuinely parading around in our village. Oh my god. Naya and Megina laughed at each other's comfort. Megina faced outwards in her mother's lap, staring at the moon while wrapped in Naya's toned arms. Hope you went right away, Mom, and all this soon. Naya sighed softly, staring down at her baby girl, licking the back of her head. Hope. That's quite a gift to have, Megina. If not a powerful thing to possess. That's a statement. Megina yawned softly as she rested her muzzle on her mother's arms. Giving others hope is the most sincere way of having trust built towards you. Not only do you give others something to look forward to in the future, but you carry their dreams, their goals, their life with you, and you give them hope. Naya lightly groomed the back of Megina's ears. But it can be the most devastating weapon to have as well. Megina turned to stare at her mother quizzically. It's one thing to give hope, but another to take it, to rip it away from them. All of their dreams shatter before them, humiliating them and leaving them in massive confusion before reality finally hits. I extended her arm out, burying her claws again. Twisting her wrists, she watched them glint in the moonlight. You dangle hope in front of their face and crush it in front of them, crippling them as their future is lost. That, Megina, is something undeserving of your most hated of enemies. Sounds pretty cruel, Mom. I pulled her arm back around Megina and purrs. Nonsense, I'm your father after all. Megina gazed her up in confusion. What? Naya struggled with the lioness up and rocked her back and forth. You thought you'd defeat me in a duel. When you went in for a finishing blow, I cornered him and finally showed him just how much I was holding back. She had seen a look in her father's face, and I did. You're so adorable, all frustrated and bruised up. And he took you as a mate after humiliating him all like that? Why would he do that? Makes you think he settled for me. Here's the thing, when you see something you don't like, don't pussyfoot about and wish it to happen. Oh boy, yep. Do the same when you find yourself a mate someday, I'm certain of it. Naya boops Megina's nose lightly as she giggles softly, watching her cub settle into sleep. Soft, gentle, gentle chuckle murmurs out as the mighty lioness whispers into her cub's ear. Till then you give your hopes and dreams like little precious moonlight. Oh my god, this is going to hurt when that, she's gonna die. I'm almost positive. You don't introduce a character like that for no other reason than... Yeah, Zeta rode forth into the desert with his horse. Dusk nearly ate what remaining sunlight he had to work off of. Drifting storm clouds loomed overhead, making it impossible for the moon to guide him. To his fortune, however, he spots a flickering speck resting on the horizon. He strode with haste to the beckoning light. Night had finally claimed the day, but Zeta held no concern, spotting his lion scout flagging him down. Growls lightly as the mischievous lion shines his small lantern at his face. Shine that damn thing elsewhere, damn it. Well, it makes why your first shine so bright. Don't want to make it. Don't want to be our twinkling star tonight. Maybe a golden spectre would be like it. I forget it. Feckin' a run went this way. Scored Zeta down a steep, narrow ravine. Zeta managed to spot the rest of his squad at the far end, due in part to the white tiger's fur illuminated by the moonlight that seeped through the gloomy clouds. He snarled softly to himself at how annoyingly useful Cyrix's method was. Eager to get his mind off the topic, he barks out to the lion as they climb down. So who's the lucky bastard that Naya nailed tonight? Cyrix shrugs. Haven't a clue. Feck told me to be on the lookout when he and Edron snoop about. Feck said I might be an Imperial scout. My 5 pooled, but it's a debonair straggler. Don't think it could be a low-step spy. I think it was Naya being Naya as far as reasoning goes. I mean, they wouldn't be dumb enough to cross us again like this, would they? Want the Empire breathing down their necks. Cover for your thoughts, boss. I'm just concerned how to handle the body of anything right now. Be a good bargaining chip if it's someone important. Oh boy, this is... alright. I don't remember a lot of this, as I've said, and this is definitely getting interesting, I suppose. Be a good bargaining chip if it's someone important. And even more so, the enemy gives us shit, and we throw that little flyboys at them in return. That too. We got a tiger. Get that fucking thing out of my face. Zeta and Cyrix reach Feck and Edron, whom Cyrix felt tickled with the idea of brightening up the area with his lantern, beaming off Edron's white fur. Edron, however, didn't like the idea either and charges after Cyrix. Young Lion yips and scampers away with the tiger dashing behind. Hey, this is my only one! So he ignores the petty dispute and joins Feck. Finds a small cougar sitting on top of what he assumes to be the corpse of the fallen aviator. They paid no attention to Zeta's attention. Was fully occupied on a peculiar scroll. Cougar's gaze snapped up to it, meet his woven superior in the eye. A flash of concern tickled his brow. Zeta felt none pleased at the look on his partner's face. I knew we agreed no bad news after sunset, but... He hops off the dead body and hands the scroll over to Zeta. Subtle look of bewilderment pulls at the reserved wolf's face as he caught the full figure of the corpse. It was a bat. Though the body was a disfigured mess thanks to its dynamic fall from grace, courtesy of Nava's strong hurl, there is no mistaking the leathered wings coiling around its mangled frame. Zeta takes the scroll and unravels it. Thought they were gonna get much info out of this trip, boss. That note is as vague as horsey shit. Feck pads over to the dead bat that lightly kicks its leg. Bastard's body Best to be worth his weight in gold to his family after the trouble he gave us. Nothing worthwhile in his pockets. Nothing worthwhile, Jesus Christ, is it? Not sure yet. Hedra and I spent most of our time trying to pull this impaled bastard up between the crevice. You can only get so far with a damn spear in your gut and stuck between a hard place. Squats down beside the mangled corpse. The thing came out of his pants we were tussling around, but I'll rummage around while you read it. Zeta grumbles lightly as he manages to read the parchment. The cloudy night sky made it difficult to read. To his distaste, he finds it more troubling to read the elegant handwriting spread across the page. Zeta stands beside Feck, struggling to make out the words. Can't read a thing in this damn light. You said you're able to read it, right? Cougar nods at pulling out a small coin purse from the bat's back pocket, shoves his paw in and pulls out knuckles worth of gold from it. Feck was nearly tingling with delight with the heavy weight of riches within his paw. Oh, yeah. Don't quote me on it, but don't quote me on it. Oh, yeah, don't quote me for quoting it, but it said something along the lines of jail the beast, take note of their comings and goings. If the worst should arise, remind the scavenger what they're fighting for, that kind of crap. Zeta growls under his breath. Enough information to go off of, he thought. At least not in this time of day. Try as he could, his eyes stalked over the dead bat, trying to find anything of notoriety from it. Nothing. It adorned oh, fuck. It adorned the slick black leather that meshed well with its natural black skin. It brandished no emblems or house crests either that he could see. A sellsword, perhaps. He couldn't make anything out. Where the hell did Cyrix run off to with the lantern? Feck flips the body over on its back. Ribcage resembled a bashed-in watermelon. Nothing but red mush occupied its caved-in chest. Out of a mutilated mass, he spots something out of place within the crushed ribcage. Something shiny. A necklace? An amulet, he thought? There's a peculiar pattern etched into it, but the cougar couldn't make it out, not with the murky red blood obscuring it. He tried to pull it out, but feels a tug of a chain fought against him. His eyes were drawn to the bat's neck, and notices a lengthy chain necklace tucked away under his armor. Curiosity had bested him now. Undo the chain. He fiddles around with the chain, his paws run across the cold metal chinks. He couldn't feel any clips or knots to undo it. Nothing but one big chain link, he realized. Feck grunts and annoyingly tugs at the chain. The dead bat had caused more problems than it should have. It was at his wit's end with it. Just fucking let me loot ya. The full weight of the day had run its toll on the young cougar's patience. After having to excavate the corpse from the crevice, subtlety was the least of Feck's concerns right now. He was already partially covered in blood. A little more wouldn't hurt. He figured to himself as he pulled out a curved blade. One chop, two chops, and a clean slice across the vertebra. Feck holds up the bat's head by its deviant ears. Ugh. Ugly little bastard, aren't you? Sure ain't like the cute fruitbacks back home, yeah? But up to his feet, ready his blade at the lurking voice. He instantly stops when he sees the pleading smile from Cyrix. Fucking hell, Cy. What do we say about sticking up on teammates? Lion shrugs in a cocky manner. Sorry, force of habit. My dog rests me the remains of the bat. So this is our fallen angel, huh? A thing of beauty, isn't he? Find anything good off him? Yeah, actually, could you sign your lantern on this? Ursus paws over the dead body and fashions the train free. He holds the blood-red necklace up and finds himself rewarded, the Cyrix grimacing. In a minute, Edron went and blew it out while chasing me. Points a thumb behind him. Edron held up the lantern while Zeta tried to reignite it with some flint. Piss off again. Vec took the bloodied amulet and cleans it against his pant leg. Still found it difficult to read the markings on the precious metal. Well, you're a kill, I guess you can see that just fine in the dark, right? No, when night is this clouded. You're telling me you can just see just fine? Oh, that was not... Howling Roar. I thought that was like a fucking, like, fire starting. Howling Roar grabbed all their attention. It was, okay. A fiery inferno swiftly dies down to a dazzling light with a lantern. The bright mirrored interior of it nearly blinds both Feck and Cyrix. I can see now. Edrin closes it up and guides Zeta along and was busy chugging one of his personal wine pouches. Spits it back out once he neared his companions. His ghostly white fur was blackened from the chin down. Takes off a glove with his right paw, still steaming with heat. Anything yet? Was that really necessary? Zeta stares at Cyrix with a hollow expression when he's showing him off. Wind was howling too much to get a proper flame in. There aren't melts anything. Quit your whining. How about another one if you shut up and point? There shows the lantern in the lion's chest, prompting him to shine it back in the bat. Feck brings the necklace into the light to examine it. The chain was considerably light, but was bogged down by the weight of the amulet. No. It was a ring. A big bronze ring, nearly the size of Feck's entire paw, dangled from the chain. What's that you got there? A ring, I think... Huh. Zeta darts beside him and grips the massive ring into the light. He wipes away more of the blood and discovers various jagged markings carved into the top. Fuck! Iron-willed expression on the wolf's face sunk into a grimacing scowl. He rubbed his brow to soothe away the stress he was now feeling. Meanwhile, Feck stared off, oblivious to everyone's reactions to the piece of jewelry. Am I missing something here? Alright, you've never met a dirge, have you? Cougar shallowly shakes his head. He feigns ignorance as Zeta snatched the huge ring out of his paw. I've never met a dirge in my whole life that knew how to write. Especially with big sausage fingers. They're simple and to the point. They have whole sets of rings that use to imprint their motives on paper, all holding their own meaning. Damn, talk about the fashion statement. What does that ring symbolize? Zeta stares at the ring. A shimmering rage kindles in his amber eyes. What? Cyrix cups his head and presses out an ugly sigh. This doesn't make sense, though. The Dirge are also under the low-set flag. Naya signed a treaty with them when this war broke out, didn't she? She did, under General Crom's orders, though. Maybe it's a ruse set by the enemy. They wouldn't attack their own forces, not when the enemy is drawing near, right? So ran his finger across the deep etches of the ring. As much as I want to believe that, only Dirge warlords carry these rings. I doubt an Imperial spy could get one this easily. Then what do you think, boss? He began to howl louder and echo through the ravine like a roaring river. Zeta stands firm like a statue to the wind, unfazed as he glares at the ring. Naya must have said something back at the fortress. Did something that pissed off the wrong people. Call it a hunch, but this needs to be looked into. Feck hopped straight to his feet. Aye. Take Cyrix, Cedron, and head home. Make sure everything is alright. If any outsiders have been making contact with the tribe leaders, I want to know. Both the lion and tiger get visibly upset at the order and circle their alpha wolf. Wait, seriously, I missed out on ambushing the Emperor. I'm with Sai on this. As much as I'd like to retire back to Shashkara, aren't you overreacting on this? Subtle leers the tiger in the eye. I've got a bad feeling in my gut about this. Your stinking guts. They're never wrong. I know, it's why I hate them. You can mark me down as well as an old paranoid dog for all I care, but I need you to do all this for me. Spits on the corpse. These ugly cretins flying about now. I can't trust sending a messenger bird to get the job done. I need you all to report back to the village and return to me with all the happenings surrounding our people. Got it? Everyone hurriedly nods in agreement and begins to head off to their horses. Zeta flanks Feck and grips him by the shoulder. Feck, if you see or even hear any inklings of a dirge invasion, you report right back to me. Got it? Between the Emperor and the dirge, now I would want to keep their ear on their whereabouts. Feck can feel the full weight of the wolf's eyes bear down into him. His words cut clear and to the point. In the years of service to him, never has he seen Zeta prone with concern. He owed much to him for putting him in his private circle. It'll be high time to honor his decision. Hey, Bush, you can count on me. Both grab at each other's forearms with a hearty shake and smirk to one another. Feck's eyes light up as a tantalizing thought bolts into his mind. Oh, while we're on the subject, do you want me to pick up anything from Mum for you? Sword, ale, armor, fresh pair of undies? But grips him by the face, growling and unamused. Surprise me. Zeta pushes Feck away at arm's length. The cougar stumbles away but gives his superior a flimsy salute and smile before joining his companions. Left by his lonesome now, the white wolf stood over the rotting remains of their avian spy. His haunting yellow eyes leer over before setting his attention back on the ring. Though Naya had promised to end this war, the howling winds carried an ominous sign stained with blood. Yep. Like sand at the tide, darkness swept across the night into a silent abyss. Not even the howling desert winds could escape its approaching maw. Quiet was all that remained, but not even it could reign supreme in this endless war. A deep rumbling of the thrones, the tranquil peace, followed by the roaring of the winds and the barbaric chants carried on to them. Sheltered within the darkness, the approaching sound of rioting leapt into life. The ungodly distortion gave birth to an unnatural sound, one of pain, spite, anguish, fear, and dread, roaring into existence like a great flame, only to bear down its audience like a landslide. Slap. Oh boy. Naya jolts away. Oh. Yeah, that's a hell of a nightmare. I'm gonna save here. And I'm not gonna go to the main menu, because if I go to the main menu, it's going to fuck up the audio quality. So, thank you, not the audio quality, the video quality, because it's animated. Thank you for watching this video. I've been wanting to do videos on Regal Tales for a while now, and now that I've finally done it, I'm really happy that I did, because I'm remembering why I like this one so much. There's a lot of really good moments in this. Sure, the tent swaps every 5 to 10 seconds is really annoying, and the misspelling of words is annoying as well. But if you look past that, you get a really interesting story about war. And I really like this one. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next video, whenever that is, 'cause, yeah, I don't know when it will be. Bye-bye, motherfuckers.